Hey everybody, welcome to What to Do Today if you feel stuck in your career. On this episode of Just Ask JT, the podcast, I'm going to be talking about how I coach thousands of people when they hit their breaking point. You know what I'm talking about. So if you're that person right now that dreads getting up every day to go to work, like you physically feel ill on Sundays or the day before you have to go back to work, you know what I'm talking about? You get the weekend flu. We call it the weekend flu. If you're somebody that's just like, I don't see any future for me, like what is the point of working? What is the point of career? What is the point of job? You have hit a burnout phase and you are feeling super stuck. And when you're stuck like that, everything feels so heavy. It kind of feels like this big bucket of rocks that I keep on my desk. I keep this on here because I constantly am reminding myself that as your career coach, my job is to teach you how to drop the rocks. So when I'm talking to clients, I'm always talking about dropping the rocks. And the rocks are all these things that are going on in your brain that are making you feel stuck, making you feel heavy, making it feel impossible to move forward. I mean, just listen to the way that I'm describing that right now. You know what I'm talking about, right? It is a physically heavy feeling to be stuck in your career. And so we have to lighten the load. And so what I want to talk about is what you can do today to lighten that load. All right. And as a 20-year career coaching veteran, I have helped thousands of people every single year, not in total, but every single year through career burnout to get them back into forward momentum, to get them unstuck so they can go pursue a job that makes them happy. And that's what I want for you today. And so today I'm going to break down the first technique that I have them do to start to lighten the load. All right. And that is to write out your career story. We all have one. Whether you believe it or not, you have a career story. And that is an interpretation of all the events related to your career that has led up to this moment. So the reason you're stuck, the reason you're carrying around all these rocks and you can't move is every single one of these little rocks is an event, is an experience, is something that happened that didn't go the way you wanted it to, or it didn't have a great outcome, or you interpreted it as something negative. And so what happens, and I can guarantee this because I have read many a career story from a client, is that when you write out your entire career story, you start to see the collection of rocks and where they came from. And that's very, very important. So your homework assignment is you take a nice clean piece of paper, or if you're more of a typing person, I want you to sit down and I want you to go back as far as you want to go. Go back to your earliest memory of where you feel starting to form your career happened, and tell me that story leading up to today. All right. I want you to do that today. Just the very exercise of unloading all of that baggage is going to make you feel better. Because right now, you don't even realize it. That story, that very heavy story, is playing subconsciously, is playing over and over again on autopilot in your mind. And it's like a major motion picture that's got, that's sad and bad, and it's playing over and over again. And so we've got to get that out of your head, out of you, onto a piece of paper or onto a digital piece of paper. Okay. Because it's going to just make you feel better to finally let it all out from the beginning to the end. And you may find you'll write it today and then put it away and come back to it tomorrow and realize there's more you want to say. And so I want you to keep working on this, work on it today and every day after till you're like, I'm done. This is it. I can't write anymore. This is the final version. I've gotten it all out. And you'll edit and you'll correct and you'll add to it. And eventually you will have this very full document. All right. So that's step one. I promise you, do this exercise. It is unbelievable how much it releases for you and allows you to organize your thoughts and stop holding it here and here, right? Now, once you've done that, this is the crazy thing. I want you to then go through the entire document front to back and circle every negative word. In fact, if you have a red highlighter or a red pen, I want you to circle every negative word. Can't, didn't, failed, lost, toxic, any word that is negative in connotation that refers to something that didn't go your way or is bad. I want you to go through and circle it. And then I want you to go back through, and anything that's really positive, right? So good, great, awesome, win. I want you to circle that with like green. Okay. And then I want you to tally it up. And what you're going to find is what? The ratio of red is going to outweigh the ratio to green. And how do I know that? Because again, when people are stuck, it's because the amount of red circles, which are like little red rocks, is so much heavier than the amount of green, right? It doesn't balance out. All the extra red, like if you were to cancel them out, let's say you get all the way through it and there's 50 red circles and there's only 10 green circles. You're carrying around 40 red circles if we net them out. See what I'm saying? So why do you do this? Because you physically need to see and understand what's happening here. You're analyzing it. You're kind of putting science or data to it. And I'm a data girly. I went to school for engineering. I'm an engineering nerd. So I like the science of this experiment because it helps you see what's happening in your career story and how the negatives are outweighing the positive, which is making you stuck. Okay. Now, here's where the crazy part starts. I want you to go back through that document, and for every negative word, I want you to replace it with a neutral word. Notice I didn't say positive. I didn't tell you to turn that situation around and suddenly think it was the greatest thing that ever happened to you. But what I want you to do is say, gee, all of these really strong negative words, they don't have to be fake positives, but they could be neutrals. I could play down their intensity. I could make them more objective. Okay. And again, this is where the exercise gets a little bit harder for people because, like, they might say horrific. And you might say, instead of saying horrific, it might be didn't turn out the way I wanted. Like, so maybe not one word, but you have to rephrase the really negative stuff into neutral. And let me tell you why. Because this story that you're telling yourself, this interpretation, is 100% made up. Let me say that again. The story you're telling yourself right now, especially the negative stuff, is made up, meaning you are choosing to interpret it that way. There's actually, if I put 100 people in a room and they all went through the same experience that you wrote about, not all 100 are going to write it the same way you did. They're not going to interpret it the same way. And that's because we are subjective human beings. We take experiences and we attach meanings to them. And oftentimes it is our meanings that we've attached to them that are causing us to be so heavy. So if we can do the mental exercise of going, wait a minute, I have the capacity, I have the power, I have the authority to look at that and not call it horrific anymore. I'm going to call it not the way I wanted it to turn out. Okay. So I'm not faking it and saying it was awesome, but I am neutralizing the negativity. And then I want you to neutralize all that red and I want you to reread it to yourself and see how physically different you feel when you're done reading it. Because when you read it full of the red ink, when you read it with all those negative words, you are literally fueling your anxiety, reinforcing this negative, horrible, terrible message. But when you go through and you change the negatives to neutral and you reread it, you're going to take a lot of that out of there. And now what you do is you reread that to yourself. And you keep going, wait a minute, it's my power, my ability to interpret this the way I want to. I don't have to interpret it that severely. I can make it more neutral. You are reclaiming your power in this situation. You are lightening your load. And I want you to think about it. Every time you physically change that big red stone, that big red rock that's in your career story to a neutral, you are lightening your load. You're tossing the rock. And this is the exercise that I have taken people through that has transformed their careers. Because what happens is, like, I've had people literally come to me and say, I sobbed, JT, because I realized I literally was the one just like clinging to all this weight and giving it so much attention. And when you taught me to just make it neutral, I was like, okay, right? I can make it neutral. and see and I'll release it for myself. I can't change what happened, but I can change how I want to codify it here and here. This is no small thing, folks. By the way, this is rooted in a lot of science. I studied neurolinguistic programming, which is a fancy term for recodifying your negative self-talk. And this is a very important exercise we need to go through when people are feeling stuck, because there's all degrees of stuck. Like there's some of you today that are going to rewrite this thing. You're going to change. You're going to make like 5 little red marks neutral, and you're going to go, all right, I got it. I'm over my anger around that. Let me go. But there are others of you that are going to find out you've been carrying around like 10 of these. 10. And no wonder you feel so heavy and so depressed. And so we got to neutralize that in order to release it so that we can start to move forward. I'm going to stop there and just say, does that make sense to everybody? I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to break through career burnout. Now, if this made sense, I have a gift for you. I seriously do. I have a gift for you. I can't work with all of you one-on-one. And I want to help millions of people. And so the team and I built a free resource center. No credit card required, nothing, folks. It is a free resource center. And in that center, I put my course, Break Through Your Career Burnout, which talks about this step 1, but everything else you're going to need to do to break through. So if this made sense to you and you would like structure around it, it's literally inside my free resource center. And to give you an idea, like this resource center, it has over $1,000 of materials in it, this being one of them. Like people charge a lot of money for these, and I'm not charging any because so many people have this level of career burnout and feel so stuck. And I know in 20 years of doing this, how powerful this is. So it is completely free. All you got to do is go get your access. You'll find it linked in my bio. You'll find it linked down below. If you go to workitdaily.com, my website, you'll see free resource center in the menu bar, right? You can go right over to Work It Daily right now, type in free resource center and go there and get access to the Break Through Your Career Burnout, because it's that important to me that you learn this exercise and some of the other exercises I teach to help you get through this. You are not going to realize your dreams. You're not going to get your dream job. You are not going to realize your potential. You are not going to get to a place where you feel satisfied and successful in your career when you're carrying this many rocks. That is a fact. I've been doing this 20 years. I got to get rid of these. We together got to get rid of these. And since I can't work one-on-one with everyone, I thought the right thing to do was to give this away. So please go grab it and spend time with it, because it will change your life. I know that sounds dramatic for me to say that, but I just know how many people have come to me after going through that and have been like, I don't even realize how paralyzed I was until I went through that course. And I'm healing, JT. And I want you to heal. I want you to have your best life. And I get it. It's heavy. And you're carrying all that inside and here and in here. And so that's the first step that you can take today. Free resource center, totally free. Go to Work It Daily, free resource center, and start the Break Through Your Career Burnout course. Okay? I promise you it's going to help you. So important. I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense to all of you. Okay. Now, here's the next thing I want to share. 2025, baby. I go live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on LinkedIn. Hey, LinkedIn, YouTube, howdy YouTube, and TikTok. Oh, TikTok, I think you're going away. But I go live. And so if you would like to get daily reminders that I'm going live so you can participate, or more importantly, if you would like me to answer your questions on the show. So in 2025, we are moving to sort of like a career couch situation where you can submit your story and your question. I will read it and answer it. We keep you anonymous. We don't name your name. We're never going to reveal who you are. But if you would like me to really address your story, your situation, that is what we're going to be doing on Just Ask JT in 2025. However, we will only do it for free resource center members. So if you want to get your questions answered on this show, you need to go and join the free resource center. And there is a form in there where you can submit your questions to Just Ask JT. Again, you will be anonymous. And if we're going to be answering your question on a show, we will tell you in advance. But I'm always going to keep you anonymous. I just want to be able to answer my members' questions. Okay. And I feel like that's a fair exchange, because right now, when you try to post your questions here, in chats and stuff. It's too short. I don't have enough context. And so my teammates and I were talking, we were like, wait, if we put a form in the free resource center, they can go in, they can share their story, and then I can really get at it here. Because I guarantee you, some of you are going to send a story in and I'm going to be like, wow, we had 12 of the same story this week. This is what we're going to talk about. And that's how I'm going to help all of you. There are trends out there. There are things that you feel so alone, like you're the only person this is happening to, and you don't know how to fix it. If that feels like you, get in the free resource center, share your story. First of all, I guarantee you're not alone. And by me answering or sharing an answer for you, we're going to help a whole other bunch of people in the process. Okay. Because you're not alone. You're not alone. So again, if you want me to answer your question or your topic to be featured on the Just Ask JT podcast, hop into the free resource center, use the form that's in there and share it. And again, we'll keep you anonymous. I promise you, I would never use names. Okay. But I want to help everyone this year. The whole point of the free resource center, the whole point of this podcast is to just help as many people as I can, because I physically can't work with all of you one-on-one. It's just like not a process. So, obviously I have a company where we do that, but there's so many of you that this was the only way for me to be able to help a whole bunch of people for free. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Lacavelli. I'm with you. People are always hesitant to talk about this stuff in public, which is why we were like, wait, if you can submit anonymous and I can have that conversation, I can help you, but I can help a lot of other people too. Yeah, absolutely. What I'm going to be doing this year for sure. So don't forget, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I am live at 1 p.m. Eastern for about 25 minutes. So I've got about 5 minutes left here. And I always have a topic on the front end of the podcast, very specific. So you can go and look in advance in the free resource center. You can see the upcoming podcast. You can know what the topics are going to be. The recordings are all there. So you can go listen to the podcast on demand on YouTube, on LinkedIn. We'll eventually have it on Spotify, which is pretty exciting. We're going to get it all there eventually. But for now, if you get in the free resource center, you'll always have access to everything. All right. Awesome. You guys are great. All right. I love you all. Listen, you can do something today to get unstuck in your career. I'm going to bring it back one more time because you've seen it so many times today. I want you to remember these rocks. This is you right now. We need to drop the rocks, right? We're going to drop the rocks by working through our career story and really reframing it. And that's what you're going to learn in that Breakthrough Your Career Burnout course, which is inside the free resource center. Okay. So I want to help you. You deserve better. Give yourself that gift. I'm asking you to invest a little time. I'm asking you to invest in belief in yourself. That's all I want you to invest right now. Okay. That's all I want you to do. You can do this. I promise. Okay. All right. I hope to see a bunch of you inside the free resource center. I hope to see a bunch of you back here tomorrow for my podcast. All right. All right. I love you all. You're the best. Take care, my friends. Take care. Bye-bye.